Fake news and police copter cover-ups for November 10th. At 10:39 a.m., a capitalized jumbo came down in what I call the phase 2. When they set the fires, they would have the phase 1 where they would go sideways on my roof, do a 90-degree turn on the 2-story house, and then also fly down over 24191 out towards Jeronimo Road. And then phase 2 would be start around noon, and they would fly them back straight over my house to cover up for the August 1st event. And so the last fire that they sent all the jumbos down, and then the last one was the only jumbo that flew in the phase 2 line, and it flew right over my head so that I would record it and have a similar recording as the August 1st time event. And then it ended. So it was like so ridiculous, and it just characterized the people doing this and how disturbed and demented they are, and how it was like a personal interaction, and how they needed to have that at the end, like some kind of kick in the nuts. It was the weirdest thing ever, and it just ended. And then ever since, they've been trying to send every now and then a random jumbo in that line, like, oh yeah, they all get mixed up sometimes, and one might fly down there. And so at the same exact time as one of those flew by, the police helicopter approached from Olivera Castilla intersection in my neighborhood and continued up towards the Solero Deseo intersection, and then made a right back into the park. So it kind of stalled, and then it continued out into the next neighborhood. So it went back into the park right there at Solero Olivera, and then made a right in the park, and then went back out across Jeronimo into the next neighborhood. So I think that maybe because I've noticed that if they just fly through a point, so say there's the October 16th event, sometimes they just like fly through it, that accounts for it. But now they've done this thing like where if you turn right or left, then that makes that like a point, like a fixed point on the route. So you acknowledge the point by turning on it. And so they made a right turn in the park. So I'm guessing that now is acknowledging that as a point of regularity, some form of main point on the routine route to cover up for the event where they tried to lead me into the park with the massive white-blue copter where they did the circles, and they had the police cruisers making the chirp sounds and acting like there's a big event, and then they hovered the helicopter and wanted me to go chase it, and then they descended it, and the police helicopter was mobbing up from Solero Deseo Olivera intersection behind me so that he could catch me just at the end of my street, which is only like 150 feet away from my step. And so that's I told that story because it's a theme, because at the end of this night I was trying to account for what size the helicopters were that are all tuned and have the lights all decorated in a way to make them look different sizes, and I wasn't able to go close enough because if I walked more than 20 feet away from my step where I couldn't run back to it, they would spotlight me. So that's like my example of the event where they set the fires and then flew the jumbo jets down incredibly low. Then they're all sitting there looking at my tapped phone and then telling them when to turn the lights off. And then by the time it's done, there's like my little evidence phone sucks and there's no evidence. And they're like, oh, okay, good. Now we'll just change the dates on that. That's not accounted for. And so, I don't know, that's messed up. They're still doing that right now. Like when they fly the helicopters over and then the Cessnas and they're trying to match the lights, they just fly it over to check to see how my phone records it. And so I don't even understand if that's like allowed in all of this. Like they're sitting, why shouldn't I should be allowed to sit there and watch what they do then, and then just decide how I'm going to go about doing my stuff. I mean, it's not even, shouldn't be a contest and nothing's up for debate. But I mean, that's kind of like a little bit beyond rigged. And then they're fabricating evidence and changing dates. So at 10:56, I saw the police helicopter doing circles at Solero Deseo intersection, and it looked like he was doing circles, but he mobbed up, and he came incredibly fast from Jeronimo, and it was aggressive, and he did one big left circle, and then he mobbed back out over Jeronimo. So just one gnarly, like, whoom, like real low. And so that's like the same point I was making. Like if you just turn right at a point where you did power circles before, then that is a center, like a point, a fixed point. So he turned right there, and now that whole area is accounted for. And so there have been many events there, including all the ones with the intercom. I don't know what he was saying, or if they were trying to say it was like some training event or I don't know. At 10:59 a.m., he reapproached from near the October 30th event spot, which is out behind the 2-story house, closer towards Jeronimo Road. and he was coming from, if you're looking, like if Jeronimo Alicia intersection is there, he was coming from Alicia Road, perpendicular from it, like running down Jeronimo towards Jeronimo Montilla basically, and then he made a right swoop towards Jeronimo Cordillera intersection, and then he made a left swoop and came straight at me. So he was coming up from behind 24171 through the October 30th spot, and he kind of slowed down, and then I saw another small white helicopter, and it had a silencer, and then I found out that after it passed by that it had a blue bottom, not the full bottom, but like behind the seat, like where the pilot would sit, like the little back part underneath and behind, very low though. And then so I had this tail silencer, and it was a mini copter, not like a small one like the UN Covrups, but a miniature. And they both flew exactly the same and at the same speed, and it was on a left tilt, and they were doing a tail wave, and so it was like a really odd characteristic tilt, and so I'm not sure what they were trying to do, but it was purposeful to connect the two copters with this. So I don't know if they're going to try to fabricate evidence or say that one didn't go by, because you can actually hear it in my video. You can hear the silencer one and then the police helicopter, but I think that they might have tried to send the police helicopter so quickly behind it in order to obscure the sound of the silencer. That way they could say it never happened, and then they could take that with the tail wave and say that it happened long ago in the past, and then to say that, oh, he never waved the tail at him, because look, we do it all the time. And if anyone was out here of any authority at all and just watched one of these events, or if I had a computer and could organize it and just be like, look, October 2nd, January 1st, like you would see, and it's so stupid, it's just so wrong, it's amazing. And so the little copter went out and continued into the park, and then kind of slowed down. At the same time, the police helicopter then made it to the October 16th spot, which is 2 houses down from me, and he slowed down. And then he did a left circle. I had ran and got on the roof at this time, so he did a circle, and then as I got on the roof, he stopped doing the circle. I don't know if he did one or two, maybe just 1.5, and then he took off towards Jeronimo Alicia intersection. And then at 11:09 a.m., I saw the copter way out beyond the freeway. So I got back on the roof because I thought I heard something, and I saw the police helicopter way out beyond the freeway towards the ocean near the back hills of Laguna Beach. And then at 11:24 a.m., he was coming left to right in the copter pocket, slightly left to right, not like from Jeronimo Montilla, but I saw him in the October 30th area, so he maybe came in, did a left curve, like a half circle, and oh no, I'm mixing this up with another event spot. So he did